Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. In today's video, we'll be reviewing match week 4 of the UEFA Champions League, going through all the games and then looking at the table. And at the end of the video, having a Champions League power ranking. Who's number 1, who's top 5, who's top 10. Let's do this. Arsenal beat Slavia Prague 3-0, and I got to catch some of the moments in the Arsenal game. First goal obviously came from another corner kick. They got a penalty from a corner kick, and then Merino scored a brace. And Arsenal, I think they haven't conceded a goal in like 11 hours of gameplay, which is absolutely insane. I mean, even when you look back at prime defensive Juventus, prime defensive Atletico Madrid, I mean, this is, matching it. I remember Juventus, they went the entire knockout stage until the Champions League final without conceding a single goal, apart from Kylian Mbappe away at Turin. This was in 16-17 when Juventus reached the final. I mean, that's what Arsenal is playing at. They've been so good defensively so far this season, and being good enough offensively to win these kinds of games. And that's despite them still missing some key attackers, as well, having to adapt into the team. So it's a great victory for Arsenal FC. Next up is Napoli versus Frankfurt, a game where both of them could have potentially picked up some points. Frankfurt only had 3 points going into this game. Napoli, I believe, had 4 points going into this game, but neither of them got any additional points. So not even goals scored, and that's a bit weird, especially Frankfurt. Frankfurt either score a lot of goals or concede a lot of goals because of the football that they play, the Bundesliga prime football. And Napoli, I mean, sure, Serie A side, and not surprising. Next up, Atletico Madrid beat Union Saint-Gilloise 3-1. Comfortable 3-1 victory. And Atletico Madrid pick up the 3 points, especially after that humiliating 4-0 defeat away at the Emirates to Arsenal. AS Monaco surprisingly pick up points away at Bodo Glimt, and Monaco is such a weird side. The games you expect them to get points in, they don't. The games you're like, oh, this could be a little bit tough for Monaco, they pick up the points. Never seen a weirder team. But Monaco pick up the 3 points after not the best start to the UEFA Champions League campaign so far. Juventus and Sporting going for a 1-1. Obviously, Juventus, they have a new manager. I just don't know who it is. But they have a new manager, so I guess a 1-1. Sporting, they should still win at home as well. Sporting picking up a point. Next up is Liverpool versus Real Madrid. This game was obviously played at the same time as Paris Saint-Germain played versus Bayern Munich. Liverpool get the 1-0 win. And I've seen some people may be shocked. Majority of them, obviously, Madrid fans. I saw Madrid fans going into this game predicting 4-0. I made a prediction video. My prediction for Liverpool-Madrid was 2-2. I knew that Liverpool was going to step up for this game and that Madrid would be good enough or good. But Liverpool get the 1-0, and I didn't watch the game. But from what I've heard, Liverpool were the better side and Madrid were not that good. Liverpool had 2.51 XG compared to only 0.45. Real Madrid having the possession and Liverpool just countering. And this reminds me of Liverpool from last season. Liverpool, these have to be all corners or something. Oh my days. This reminds me of Liverpool from last season. Liverpool last season was not a possession side, but with the signing of Wirtz and how teams are playing them in the Premier League. In the Premier League, Liverpool have most of possession, and it's the opposition that counters against them, and Liverpool are not the best at defending counterattacks. But in this game, from what I can see, Madrid had the ball, Liverpool got to counterattack, and we got basically to see Liverpool from last season. Instead of playing Wirtz as the number 10, Wirtz played this game as a left winger, so basically as an attacker, and having that stable McAllister, Gravenberch, Sloboslai from last season. So maybe Liverpool will start picking up stuff from here. They beat Aston Villa 2-0. They beat Madrid 1-0. These are definitely the 2 most impressive performances and results, apart from maybe 1-0 against Arsenal so far this season for Liverpool. So maybe they're going to come back now. Olympiacos 1-1 versus PSV. A little bit of predictable, I guess. 2 teams that really want to pick up points but don't want to lose. And then Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich. I've already discussed this game in so many stuff, but to simply explain it, Bayern Munich proved that they're the best team in the world, and Paris Saint-Germain, we have stuff to work on until we can call ourselves the best team in the world and compete. Because, yes, sure, the second half, Bayern sat back because of the red card and so on. And they've done enough. They had scored 2 goals away at the back. Whilst in that first half, it was clear who was the best team and who was the second best team. Tottenham Hotspurs versus Copenhagen. 4-0 victory for Tottenham Hotspurs after a very filthy game versus Chelsea, from what I've heard. They get a 4-0 victory versus Copenhagen at the home stadium. Van de Ven scoring an absolutely insane goal, probably the best goal from this Champions League campaign. Very impressive victory there from Tottenham Hotspur. Going to today's matches, which I missed. I didn't watch a single one. Villarreal surprisingly losing to Pafos. Very bad from Villarreal, who've been very good in La Liga so far. I think they're sitting second or third in the league. They've been decent in the UCL so far this season as well, but this is not a great result. But I want to give huge prop to Pafos, a team you don't expect too much from them, getting 3 in crucial points. Because last match week, they played Kairat. I think it ended 1-1 or 0-0. One of them needed to pick up the points, but Pafos getting a crucial 3 points here. And who knows what Pafos can do after the confidence this victory brings them. Karabakh getting a 2-2 draw versus Chelsea, despite Chelsea fielding a strong 11. But I did sense Chelsea were not going to be that good, and they haven't been really that good in the Champions League so far. Even their 5-1 victory versus Ajax is mostly rememberable for Ajax having an early red card, which eventually led to Chelsea battering them. So heavy question marks on Chelsea so far this season, especially in the UEFA Champions League. But huge points for Karabakh. They obviously started off the season with 2 victories, if I'm correct, and getting another point here. So it looks like Karabakh will be going into a round of 32, which is absolutely huge for a club with the stature of Karabakh. Ajax versus Galatasaray, and I'm going to prop myself. I knew Galatasaray would win this game, and Galatasaray looked to be one of those dark horses in the UEFA Champions League. They have a tough stadium to go to as well, but a 3-0 victory away at Ajax. And I know Ajax have been complete dog shit this season so far, but it's very impressive. Osimhen, hat-trick, 2 penalties, but hat-trick from Osimhen. Very impressive victory from Galatasaray in this game. Bayer Leverkusen get the 1-0 victory versus Benfica. They do enough. Patrick Schick getting the goal for Bayer Leverkusen. Good 3 points for Leverkusen, who have not been that good so far, both in the Bundesliga and in the UEFA Champions League so far this season. FC Barcelona draw 3-3 versus Club Brugge. Didn't watch the game, but I've seen, some tweets and so on. Yamal scored a very good goal, but I heard apart from that, he didn't have a good game. And overall, Barca didn't have a good game. And Club Brugge getting 3 goals from Barca playing suicide on high line and an offside trap and so on. So, Barca obviously, who have already dropped points versus PSG, drop points again here. But you know what? Club Brugge, with the players they're missing, maybe it's not the worst result. I think Barcelona at the moment, the La Liga is more crucial because, they're not going to get grouped and so on. Inter beat Kairat Almaty 2-1. Inter continue to be impressive so far in the UEFA Champions League campaign. Them, Arsenal, and Bayern München, the only teams that have won 4 out of 4 games. So another good victory. Should have been more probably against a team like Kairat, but who knows, maybe Kairat performed really well. Let me take a look at the stats. 0 for 15 XG. They basically had 1 chance, were clinical from it, and Inter probably maybe could have gotten more. City versus Dortmund, very impressive victory from Manchester City in this game. Haaland getting a goal, Foden with a brace, and Foden has to step up more often for City. Not because Haaland is not scoring goals, but because it's heavy reliance on Haaland. I think Foden potentially could now be the 2nd top scorer ahead of own goals at Manchester City. So Haaland needs a little bit help, but very impressive performance here from Manchester City. I thought Dortmund would be better. 0.94 XG, 194, 50-50. It doesn't look maybe like a 4-1 game, just from the stats and so on, but I thought Dortmund would do a little bit better because they've been very good this season. But that becomes Borussia Dortmund's 2nd defeat of the season so far. Very impressive victory for City, as I said, and they are starting to roll that ball so far this season. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Samardzic, merci beaucoup. Thank you so much for this important, huge goal, because we need Marseille grouped. They got that Fugazi victory versus Ajax, but at the moment Marseille only have 3 points. That's the only game they have beaten. Bottled it versus Sporting, bottled it versus Madrid, and bottled it here versus Atalanta at their home stadium. And Newcastle get impressive 2-0 victory here versus Atletico Bilbao. It was very predictable. And now let's take a look at the table. We'll also take a look at the stats and so on. And here we have it. So let's start from the bottom here. Got Ajax, Benfica, the only teams that haven't picked up a single point so far in the UEFA Champions League this season. And Benfica, they sacked their manager after 2 embarrassing defeats, got in Jose Mourinho, but hasn't really changed anything, which just shows maybe the quality of the players just isn't good enough. And Ajax, obviously, they could have won the league last year. I think on the last match day, their manager left to Porto. Now they're complete dog shit. Minus 13 in goal difference. Wow. Kairat Almaty have 1 point. It's not looking good for Kairat Almaty. 4 games left and they need at least 12-ish points. They're not going to do it. Copenhagen as well. I mean, Kairat, Copenhagen, maybe Ajax are teams you were predicting to get down. Maybe not Benfica. Villarreal. Wow, they've been actually horrendous in the UEFA Champions League. Maybe not horrendous, only minus 4 goal difference. They're losing games like 1-0, 2-1. But if they want to survive and help out the Spanish coefficient ranking, they got to do something in the next 4 games. Tough game versus Dortmund coming up. Olympiacos, yeah, they're not that good. Slavia Prague, same there. These are teams you're not predicting to go through. Bodø Glimt, they've made games tough, but they haven't managed to get the 3 pointers, 2 draws, 3-1 defeat here, and a 1-0 defeat. So 2-2 Slavia Prague, 2-2 Spurs. So they've been a good side, but just not being able to get the points over the line. Union Saint-Gilloise started off their campaign with a victory, 3 defeats in a row. Atletico Bilbao, not looking good for the 2 Spanish sides right here. Juventus, wow, 3 draws. I mean, this is prime Italian team. Here we have Marseille outside of the round of 32 places. Only 1 victory. Hopefully that continues. I need Marseille out. I couldn't care less about the French coefficient when it comes to Marseille. They gotta get humbled. Napoli should be doing better, but that's Antonio Conte in the UEFA Champions League. He has a terrible track record. Frankfurt, predictable. Club Brugge, these are like the mid-table clubs. Leverkusen, losing their manager, a lot of top players. This is where they should be. Pafos, 2 draws versus Olympiacos, Kairat, and now a victory versus Villarreal. Who knows what Pafos can do? Sitting on 5 points here, they need an additional maybe 7 points to go through. AS Monaco, this is where they should be mid-table-ish, but shouldn't have lost 4-1 to Club Brugge. Should have beaten Spurs. If you go and look at the stats of that game, PSV, Atletico Madrid, 2 wins, 2 defeats. Yep, it's been a roller coaster from Atletico Madrid so far. Atalanta finally get a victory here after their victory versus Club Brugge, and they haven't been that good so far this season with Gasperini leaving and the Lookman situation and everything. But Atalanta doing well here. Karabag. Shout out to Karabag, prop to Karabag, fair play to Karabag. Let's see what they will do versus Napoli, who have not been the best, and Karabag are above them. Imagine Karabag goes through. That would be a historical thing for Karabag. Borussia Dortmund, cheeky spot. Sporting, cheeky spot. Chelsea, cheeky spot. Barca, obviously Barca had the tough game versus Paris Saint-Germain. They should probably be a little bit higher. Got Spurs, 8 points, cheeky. Galatasaray, one of the dark horses. And now we're coming into the top 8. Liverpool, despite the defeat to Galatasaray, they're still in the top 8. Madrid, despite the defeat to Liverpool, still in top 8. Newcastle, losing their first game, tough game versus Barca, but since then they've been breezing through their games. 4-0, 3-0, and 2-0. Maybe next game is going to be 1-0. Paris Saint-Germain obviously lost the game versus Bayern, but still holding out on their spot here in the top 5. Manchester City could have won this game versus Monaco and could have been part of the teams that have won every single game. So very impressive from Bayern, Arsenal, and Inter Milan. The only thing I would say about Inter, and Arsenal as well, I don't think they've faced like a tough team, but that will change now. I mean, Inter's going to face Atletico, and then obviously they're going to face Arsenal later down in the year. I think maybe last game of the Champions League group stage. And Arsenal obviously going to face Bayern. And Bayern, even though they were tested versus Paris Saint-Germain, won the game, they're going to face Arsenal next to once again prove themselves as the best team in the world. But if we're going to do a power ranking, I'm going to do 2 power rankings, one for the Champions League this year. I mean, then you basically just look at the table. You could say basically Bayern, Arsenal, Inter, City, PSG. That's basically the power ranking so far. But if I'm going to go teams to win the Champions League, I'm still confident in Paris Saint-Germain. I'll put Bayern München second. After this, Madrid, I'm going to put Arsenal third. I'm going to put Barca fourth. And I'm going to put Madrid fifth. Because Madrid, have all of their best players, performing well in the league and everything, but still questionable in the big games they've played so far. Barca have a lot of valuable excuses. With the injuries and so on. So that's my power ranking to win the UEFA Champions League. And to finish off, take a look at some stats here. Victor Osimhen, top goals. Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, Mbappe. These are basically the 3 fantasy kings. You either have Haaland, Kane up top, Kane, Mbappe, or Mbappe, Haaland up top. Cheeky here from Osimhen. You got Lautaro Martinez, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Gordon. No PSG player. No Arsenal player as well. Interesting. Very interesting. Assist, Soboslai, Aubameyang, Hakimi, Reinders, Wirtz, Julian Alvarez. Yeah, that's basically it. Well, hopefully you guys have enjoyed match week 4, a review of the UEFA Champions League. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this is basically the second episode of the Champions League match week review, and more videos coming soon. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. That's been it from boy PSG, and as usual, allez Paris.